You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Time for another hard-hitting look at reality. How many times have we said it's coming? Now, we have had this slow progress, right? Up and up and up and up into more hard times, more SHTF, more difficulty requiring more thought process to understand it. We have followed this progress up and up and up. But there are big events that will occur while we go through the process, going from peace and prosperity and tranquility to what the hell, Mad Max. So we get a taste. We can look at history to get a taste. You know, we can go all the way back in history, and then we can go forward to more modern times, and then to present times. We get a look at SHTF. And what have we learned in the last couple of years? Well, our power grid is compromised. Our power supply is questionable. Our power sources are getting more expensive. Our infrastructure is being weakened just by time itself. Not to mention the failure of government and the organizations directly responsible, the power companies, whether public or private, are responsible for maintaining, improving, upgrading, what have you, our power structure. Lights, camera, action. It is our entire world that depends on this energy. Whether it comes from coal or natural gas, from diesel-fired generators, solar panels, wind, nuclear, right? But for base load, civilization surviving power, we have to have real power, folks. It's a big grid, thick wires, lots of juice. Well, SHTF. We've been told cyber attacks. We've been shown that war affects our grid because of energy. Well, we get a little preview, folks, a real-time preview of SHTF. We've talked about it. Also, first world nations like the United States, emerging market economies like India, and third world shitholes like, I don't know, South American countries, Mexico. I mean, I know Mexico could be an emerging market due to its proximity to the United States, but corruption, greed, theft, etc. So yeah, third world shitholes. African nations, South American nations, Asian nations that are beaten down and they are just corrupt as hell. Well, how about one much closer to home? How about Puerto Rico, huh? Well, guess what, folks? I wanted to get into this in depth with you and discuss the risk, the threat, etc. Puerto Rico is suffering an island-wide blackout. Well, their power plant, folks, erupted in flames. A raging, hideous inferno engulfed it, catching fire, fireballs flying everywhere. Don't worry, it wasn't a nuclear plant, right? And I don't expect nuclear plants to do that. I expect hydrocarbon-run power plants to do that. Why? Because they got fuel, whether it's coal or gas, natural gas, or bunker oil, fuel, diesel, whatever the fuel source, you know, when shit goes wrong, it can really go wrong. Well, it's gone wrong in a big, big way. And Puerto Rico has been an example of how something first world can be turned into something third world in an instant. Now, let's go back to Hurricane Irma. Back in history, Hurricane Irma hit the entire Caribbean, just caused massive damage, folks. It was a tragedy upon tragedies. But in Puerto Rico, the government made it worse. They had no emergency plans. They were the beneficiaries of the generosity of the people of the United States government sending food, water, generators, equipment, all manner of supplies that fall into our prepper categories, right? And it was held in a warehouse. The cash was sequestered away by the corrupt politicians. It is just like a third world corrupt shithole. And now here we are today with an island-wide blackout. And of course, the politicians come out and say, nobody panic, everyone remain calm. When you hear a government official say, remain calm, there's no need to panic. I'm not saying the thing to do is panic. I'm saying that's what happens. There's panicking starting, and the people, they realize what's happening. They realize the panic is there, right? And the government's trying to stop it, but it's already started. In other words, what happens when the power goes out? People are scared, they're poor, they're uncertain, and they have a history of their government taking resources and hiding them from them. You know, people panic. They resort to buying all they can, hoarding. Then they loot. Then they commit crimes. Now, the difference between Puerto Rico, even though it's a U.S. territory, it's not a state. It's a U.S. territory. Puerto Rico, folks, they don't have guns the way we do in the United States of America. So people there have a harder time protecting themselves from those with power to victimize them. Once again, I want you to go to the preparedmind.club to get your food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. But it's the means of self-defense, folks. When we get these real-time previews of SHTF, you can bet your ass there are people being stomped right now, curb stomped, by people victimizing them. Island-wide blackout, it doesn't take long in a country, in a territory like Puerto Rico, for things to go from bad to worse very quickly. For stuff to go from good to horrible in a big hurry, because they've already been there. They're already close to it. And that's why I say third world nations give us a good preview of what's happening. Second world nations will follow. And us here, world power, United States of America, even here, it's 3 days away before people run out of food. It's 4 days before they get very hungry. It's 5 days and they start panicking. And that's 5 days. I'm being generous. Some areas will be faster, but on average, shall we say, 5 days. Yeah. So Puerto Rico, no power. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that they can't get gasoline or diesel fuel. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the entire island is basically kaput, shut down. They're on their own. Now, I want you to imagine the entire nation of the United States on its own. Whether we're talking the West Coast, LA, San Francisco, SeaTac, and Portland, whether we're talking the central part of the country, you know, Kansas City, Dallas, Chicago, or maybe the eastern seaboard, Boston, New York, Philly, DC, and then down south, how about Charleston or Atlanta, Miami? Those places, if the power is off, what do you think the people are going to do? Do you think they'll behave and say, this is America, man, stay calm, no need to panic, remain calm, we're cool? Or do you think they will panic? Now, again, your situation could be different than my situation, could be different than the next guy and gal's situation. Depends on your region of the country, the socioeconomic makeup of the people in the 10-mile radius around you. A lot depends on what it is that's going on. Is it a power outage? If they find out it's for the whole country, it's a lot different than if it's just for one city. It's different if a tornado goes through or if it's a cyber attack on the grid. This is not fear porn, folks. This is reality. The entire territory of Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico, like many third world countries, is corrupt. And even, we've noticed, are really nice, right, countries like Russia, US, and Europe, even us civilized types, seem to lose all civility when it comes to, right, those in power wanting power. They're more than willing to be corrupt and to thieve and everything else. So when we see Puerto Rico go down like this, we realize how quick it can happen for us as well. Yep, never forget, folks, never forget, right, that we've been told we're going to get a cyber attack. Do you have solar panels and a battery system to collect your own power to power computers, phones, and radios, and or small appliances like a small mini fridge to keep medicines cold, to keep some perishables cold longer, and to keep them stored? Right? If the power goes out, your freezer can keep things frozen for several days, but after that, what happens? That's right. You better start cooking that food, turning that beef into jerky, turning that chicken into jerky. We've got some interesting times ahead of us. Get prepared, because chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Semper Fi, Godspeed, and the next time you see me, it'll be for the Friday Free for All. See you soon.